and welcome back to the Jenkins Art Studio. I'm Gary Jenkins, and today we're going to paint my favorite subject, roses. But we're going to paint it on a different type of surface. So let me show you just what kind of surface I'm talking about here. This is a piece of canvas board back here. And this is a 16 by 20. This piece in here is an 11 by 14. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not canvas board, this is masonite. You can use canvas board, but this time I'm using masonite. So this is 16 by 20. This is 11 by 14. And let me show you, I've taken one apart here to show you how this kind of goes together. Now this is canvas board. So you can use either canvas board or masonite, whichever you want. Now, this is a 16 by 20. And I've sprayed this. Now this stuff here, you see this background. This is stuff you can get at your hardware store. I don't know what it's called, but you use it to spray things to make it look like stone. And I thought, well, gee, that would make a wonderful background for our painting today. What you do then is you take another piece that's smaller. This is 11 by 14, and I put a couple pieces of wood on the back. You can see the wood back there. Then I take and just glue the whole thing together, and what you end up with is what I have on the easel up here is a nice surface to paint on. So you can see what it does, it gives us a sort of a three-dimensional look. It even casts a shadow, and you can get a little very inexpensive frame to put on it. So the whole package makes a very neat surface to paint on rather than just a piece of canvas. Let's take a look at the painting that I'm working from up here, so you get an idea of where we're going with the whole thing. There it is. We have it's a very simple painting, and you can see the surface is only 11 by 14. But the whole thing is a 16 by 20, so we get a very large piece to hang on the wall, though the painting surface is just a very small surface. I even have a little gold around the edge. Let's take a look at what I have on the easel up here. What you can do, and I don't have it on this one, but after your painting is done, you can take a gold felt tip pen after your painting is dry, and then just run an edge of gold around the outside. It's an option. You can either do it or not. Let's come down to the palette and let's see what we have down here. Whoop. Before we get down there, I've got to get rid of my junk here so I can get to my paper towels. I use paper towels all the time. You won't see me, but it's very important that after you clean your brush off to wipe it on the towel so our color is clean between one and the other. Otherwise, you'll get dirty color. Now we can come down to the palette. I've got this palette laid out to where I have the tube color out here on the outside edge. This is oil. And I've taken some white, excuse me, and mixed it with each one of these colors, and I ended up with a nice pastel shades. So you can see way over here, we have some wonderful green over here, and when I mix, let's take a look at the brush I'm using. Let's come in real close. This is a number 12, and it's called a bright, or sometimes it's even called a flat brush. So since our roses today are going to be kind of rather small, we have to drop down in size. Okay, now let's back up and take a look at the whole palette that we have here, and let's see what we have laid out. Oh yeah, oh well, look at over here. What do we have? It looks like a little dragonfly just flew down on my palette. Shoot! These little guys just come and visit you once in a while, I guess just to see what's going on. Come on, little guy. We're going to take him, and let's put him over here away so he can just sit off camera and watch what's happening. We're going to sketch in. We're going to take a little red over here, a little touch of medium. Little guys come and visit every once in a while. You never know who's going to come visit us. Maybe we'll have a butterfly or some bees. Who knows? We're going to come up here and sketch in an area where we're going to have our pink rose. And using the same color, an area where we'll have our little yellow rose, right? Now you don't want to stack one underneath the other, but you notice how it's at an angle. Now we're going to come down. Pick up some green, little touch of sienna, using our little bright brush here. Did I tell you what number that is? Number 12? Don't want to use a brush that's too big, otherwise your strokes would get too large and you wouldn't have any texture to your canvas. Or to your, well, I call it canvas. This is masonite. And brush, 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 brush. And notice how nice and loose and free it is. Then we're going to take, I think I'm going to take a little gray. We haven't used that for a while. I'm going to sneak a little of that gray in down here, using a very loose and free brush stroke. Then, because this is going to be floating in the middle of this white, we're going to take a little white, mix it up, and I'm going to put this white around the outside. I think I'll use a slightly larger brush. I'm going to come down and pick up a number 20, dip into the medium, take some white. I'm going to put some white around here. This is so that, I think I'll put it around the whole thing. Let's just coat the whole thing here. And now this is put on rather thin, plenty of medium. I'll come up here. Yeah, that would be fine around here. You might not see this white going on, but it's going on, and it's very thin. And I'm going to put this on so we can brush our leaves and brush the edge of the roses out so that the rose petals will get very soft when they hit that white. Now we're going to take, now you see how sharp the edges are. We're going to take and crisscross. You see how it's softening out because of that white back there? Notice the crisscross, this side of the brush, that side, this side, that side. Masonite will give you a different feel than canvas. Canvas bounces, and when you work on canvas a lot, you get used to that bouncy, bouncy. So when you work on masonite, it might feel a little strange to you at first. We're going to start sneaking other colors into the background. Now this is, we have crimson, this little pile here, white, mixed with crimson. Take some of that up here. Oh yeah. Color, color, color. You know how we love color. And if we wanted to use our blending brush, we could always get in and use our blender. We won't right now. This is orange and white. Pick up some of that. And you can put it wherever you want. It really doesn't matter. Or you can use colors that you have in your decor. If you're going to hang this in a room where you have certain colors that dominate, well, you just stick that color in there. It's your painting, do what you want with it. Little yellow up in here. Look at that little bit of sunshine showing. We're going to come in and put some leaves in. Now I'm going to put some leaves in with gray. This is just black and white. Makes a gray. And these, whenever you put gray in, gray recedes into the background. Gray goes back. Gray is a neutral color. And when we go in with a little bit with some darker color, you'll see how this gray takes its place in the back. Let's take a look at this stroke. How does this stroke work? What makes this stroke happen? Let's come in here, an area right in here. And what you do is you take the brush and put it down. You wiggle. Let's come in there real close. I want everybody at home to see how this works. Now the brush is down, and I have gray on there. I'm going to wiggle, come up, and out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like you're dancing. It is much like dancing because you'll get a rhythm to your painting and you'll start to do it. But don't go crazy once you learn, because I know it's such an easy, wonderful stroke. We call it a filler stroke. Let's borrow some green from in here and put a little of that. You see how it just went a little bit darker? Just a shade darker. Boy, I guess we better get started on our flowers, but before we do, let's steal a little time, because I want another leaf in here. You block it in, angle towards the back, and here we have a wonderful rose leaf there. Another one here. You see that? You think you could do that? I think so. Wiggle color in, angle towards the back. Another one in there. Yes. Let's come up here before we start the roses. I want to show you what happens when we take, let's take several colors. We're going to take some crimson. We'll take a little red and orange, maybe this rose color. We got a little bit of everything on there. I'm going to come up here and let's put a nice darker, yes, look at that color. Yes, it's popping, it's doing it. If you're going to do something, do something. Have fun and play. Play like a child plays. The problem is we grow up and we lose all this stuff. We lose the ability to paint like a child. I want to read something to you here just for a second. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. Pablo Picasso. And that's the truth. How to remain an artist, to keep that child quality going once we grow up. Many of your schools, children are so creative. It's wonderful how creative they are. But because of many of the school systems, they squeeze that creativity right out of the child because I guess they can't take time for the gifted one. The gifted one is always the odd one in class, the one that's a little weird, one that doesn't like to study. He's the creative one. And so they say, don't be creative. You got to get over here on your left brain and study. And so the child is in the middle. He's no good at this. He's no good at that. He just sort of floats down the center. Story of my life when I was in school. Let's get on a rose here. Before they say, get off of here. And my wife, Catherine, will come over and say, that was a good show, but you forgot to put the flowers in. Good grief, let's block one in. This is going to be a pink rose. And we simply block it in, a little touch of medium. And there's our pink, and we just leave that there and just sort of gaze at it and say, isn't that wonderful? We'll pick up a little yellow. Maybe this time we'll put a little touch of orange with it. This is going to be our little yellow rose down here. Block it in, but don't block it in thick. Overlap your little leaves. And there's our yellow one. Yes. We're going to come down and pick up a little crimson. This time no medium. And we'll put that in the middle of this one. And we'll put some crimson in the middle of this one. We have a little blending brush that we'll take. And we'll blend this out here. And we blend this one out. You always blend it out in the direction that the flower's facing. All right. That's not hard. Now we're going to go in and take a little white. Maybe let's take our pink mixture over here. It's made up of crimson and white. And I'm going to go in with a number 12 brush. Let's see how this works. And we're going to pick a petal out of here. There's a little petal there. Not too much white. We have another petal up here. Look at that. Another one there. This is sort of forms a cup shape. Now my brush is bye-bye. I'm just picking up a little more pink. And we have another petal in here. Watch this happen. Yes. Yes. A little more pink. And we sort of work our way right inside. And it gets darker, 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 till it's just little teeny little petals. Same color. We're going to come to the outside edge and pick out some petals back there. You can't even see. You don't want to define everything. Because if you show hard edges on everything, the whole flower gets very hard. Roses are soft, and they should be soft. A lot of folks out there say, okay, I see all you painting all these wonderful roses. Where do you get all your subject matter? Do you go out in gardens and paint, or do you get it from books? Well, Catherine and I live in a town called Ashland, Oregon, and we live in a Victorian home, and we're very fortunate to have a beautiful rose garden in our backyard, and that's the back of the house there. And we have a wonderful garden, and I go out there and what? Now you see there's my cowboy hat. I keep looking for it, and I see it on me on the tape, but I can't find it. I think Catherine hid my hat. But anyway, that's where I photograph and do all the photography for the roses. Though the photographer in the family is Catherine, not me. She's the one that's out there clicking away and getting all these wonderful photos for me to work from. We must have 100 rose bushes. It's crazy out there. You guys are out here in Ashland, and during the summer, give us a call. Maybe you want to come by and photograph some of the flowers we have. Let's take yellow and white. And don't forget at the end of the show, if you guys want to email me, my web address will be on there. What a technology we live in. My web address. Good grief. I'm just getting used to the telephone. I'm just getting used to TV. Now they got all this other stuff coming. There's that cup shape. Now this one's upside down. We're going to go back here and show some petals back here. Now I know there's a lot for you to look at, a lot to learn. We do have a painting packet that will explain everything to you with color photographs and everything in there, in case you get lost along the way. Now I want to put in our back petals. Notice how you can see right through this little guy. Look how you can see through it. That gives you that translucent look. Yes. And don't forget when you call us to refer to the show number on the end of the show. There'll always be a number on there. Many times you call and you say you're watching a floral show, but we don't know which one. So the number will help us. Yes. Look at that. Look at this simple little painting. Oh, we have a little, we're going to take a little green. And maybe down here, we're going to have a little bud that's going to live right here. Yeah. I'm going to take some crimson and put a little bud right in here. A little round belly. And a little ragged top. Maybe we'll put some color with that. Let's take a little red and orange. I just picked up a little red and orange. No big deal. Same brush. Get a little color on there. Now this other brush is a little smaller. So maybe that bud's so small that we need to take a little yellow and orange. And then I want to get it a little brighter right in there. Yes, that's cool. Now we're going to take some green, a little touch of yellow. And come into there. And come in. Woo, look at that. You look at that. And another one on the bottom. Notice the stroke is half on and half off of that bud. And watch me come in. Let's get in there. Let's fill the whole screen up with bud. I want to see that bud. Let's get in there. So folks at home, they see this brush and they can see how it works. Watch it go on. Yes, there's the brush. And you come in and watch me twist it to the side. And then you can flatten it out and get another little. You see that little twist? You see that? Whoo. Maybe right off of this bud, we'd have this going on and something like that. Now, this style of painting that you're watching is a style of painting that I came up with over 30 years ago. You'll see a lot of imitations out there, guys. But now you're watching the real thing. Yes, and don't be fooled by anybody that says it's theirs. I did it and I'm proud of it. I did it and I earned it, yes. Let's get some color in here. Let's get some leaves with some stuff. Green, let's come down. Here's the child. Okay, you want to see the child? Let's take a look at the child. I want to play. I don't ever get to play. Grown-ups say, no, you can't play. You have to be an adult. Here's yellow. Here's this. Here's this. I got garbage on here. You've probably seen me do this before. I love to do it. This garbage time. Garbage time. Can you see the garbage? Let's get in on the end of that brush. So many of you folks are intimidated by color at home. Intimidated by this stuff, this oil paint. You see that? See all that junk on there? Let's see what this does up here. We're going to come up to an area right in here. And we're going to play in here. We're going to come in, and we're going to take our brush and push it down, and we're going to wiggle. What do you think's under there? Let's take a look. Surprise, surprise. Look at that light. Wonderful red leaf with all kinds of little stuff floating around in it. People think you take a little brush and you do all that stuff, but we won't tell them our secret. Oh, look at that. I see another little yellow bud floating around. Little things. A little dragonfly came in to visit us at the beginning of the show. And now I see a little little yellow bud over there. Let's take a little of this green and come in here, put a little top on it, a little here, and a little there, and there we have a little bud. So we have two buds, and never have your buds going the same way. Always have one going one way and one another. Let's take a look at that, see how we did. Oh, on some of the shows, on a show either coming up or one I've already done, because I don't know which sequence these shows are all played in, but I have a vase painting. The vases are wonderful to paint. They're just, look at this thing. Look at that. Look at the rose. Is that wonderful? I'm going to turn the vase slowly around. This is gold leaf on the top. It's a black. It was painted black first. Then the gold was put on. And then we went in and painted. Look at that. There's a, that's as good as it gets, guys. Yes, just like the movie. That's as good as it gets. It doesn't get better than that. Look at that. I love roses. If I had my choice, I'd paint roses on every single show. I know I get people writing me and they say, oh, we're tired of your roses. I love roses. You could never learn enough about, if you spent your whole life painting roses, you still wouldn't be good enough. We teach workshops, and I have people say, oh, well, you're going to teach a rose again? We already took the rose. I know how to do the rose. Sure. I don't know how to do a rose. I've been painting roses for 30 years, and I still don't know how to paint roses. I go out in my backyard, like that clip showed you. I'm still amazed. I sit there and I stand and I look at these flowers in amazement. I look at the center of it and the way it spirals. I love to catch the bud just when it's starting to open and look at the color. I look at them in the morning and they're one color. I look at them in the afternoon and they're another color at around 3 or 4 o'clock when they're starting to open. People say, okay, well, you can tell, I love flowers and I love roses. But if you want to see God, guys, look inside a rose. And he'll look right back up at you and smile. That's where you'll find him. And love your flowers and love your roses and study them. Let me show you another painting. This is done on the same way. These are just little wildflowers. And it's done on the board. Oop, get this around the right way. This is done on the same board. This is done on Masonite. And you can see I put my hand under there. See, it gives you that 3-dimensional look. Is that wonderful? And all that is 11 by 14. But the back part is a 16 by 20 with a little simple wooden frame on it. And this is just a little simple painting. You need to put a little butterfly in this one. Yes. Yes, it just goes on and on what you can do with painting. Many times when you're doing a painting, you say, well, gee, maybe something else would look good in there. Maybe some daisies would look good. And a good way to tell, you can take, these are artificial flowers, and these are wonderful flowers. Let me show you some of these. And you can take these and hold these up to your painting. And to tell if you do want to put some daisies in here or some wild orchids in there would be cute. You know, just it feeds the imagination. Yes. Well, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget out there, after you clean your brushes, use some brush conditioner, otherwise your brushes will go bye-bye on you. Thanks for watching out there. Take a walk in the garden and photograph all these wonderful roses. Use a macro lens to get in there real close to see all that detail in there. Thanks for watching, and God be with you out there. And don't forget, to stop and smell the roses along the way. God be with you, and I'll see you next time.